got done doing a teaching with my good friend Mark Wilson for a group of pastors, and we were talking about revival. And I want to unpack one of the things that I shared on there really quick. I want to unpack it a little bit more. And one of the things I talked about is part of revival is cultivating the presence of God in our lives, cultivating the presence of God in our lives. And I want to share with you 3 ways to cultivate the presence of God in our lives. Like, how do we grow our hunger, our longing for Him? How do we set the table for His presence to show up? Here's 3 things really, really quick. One is people. I want to be around people who are hungry and longing for God. Like, the more I'm around people who long and hunger for God, the more it builds in my soul as well. So I want to be in relationships with people and connect with people who hunger for God even more than I do, right? Like, I want to be around people who just, you ever be around people and you're like, my goodness, that person loves Jesus a whole heap. Like, I want to be around those types of people. So one way that we can cultivate the presence of God in our lives is to be around hungry people, to be in relationship with hungry people. The second thing is places. Being in places where God's presence is manifest. I think about like one thing that Becca and I have done is we've gone to places where revivals have happened because we want to be there. We want to be around in those places that God's presence has been. Like, for some people, maybe that's a prayer closet for you, that there's just a special place for you. Or it's, I know it's COVID and stuff, but it's like going to conferences or going to different church services or whatever it is. Wherever these places are where God historically shows up in powerful ways, I want to be in those spaces and in those places where God's presence tends to be manifest. And the third thing is things. I want to do things. I want my life to reflect in a way that invites God's presence to be there thickly. Now, I'm not, like, there's a difference between the essential presence of God that's always with us. I'm talking about the manifest presence of God, where these times where God's presence just seems to rest. I want to live my life. I want to do things in my life out of obedience and love for God that cultivates my heart and longs for Him more. And truthfully, the more I call my life into alignment with God's will, God's plans, God's ways, I experience Him more. And so again, when we're talking about cultivating the presence of God in our life, coming in encounter with Him more, 3 quick little things. I want to be around people who long for God. I want to go be in places where God's presence is manifest. I want to be in places. I want to go to church services and conferences and places of revival or prayer meetings or whatever it is where His presence is manifest. I want to be in those places, and I want to live my life in a way that demonstrates and lives a holy life before God. Because I've just found the more that I call myself into alignment and the more that I surrender to Him, the more that I encounter Him. And so, here's the question for you. What are the people, places, and things that you can do in your life just to cultivate that? Not out of legalism, not out of duty, but out of this heart of longing to encounter God more and more and more. Out of this deep place of hunger, saying, God, everything in my life belongs to You, and I want to live my life in a way that aligns with You. So who are those people, places, and things in your life that you can call yourself in alignment and hunger more for who God is? So again, how do we cultivate it? People, places, and things. What are those things? Where are those places? And who are those people that you can be with that are hungering and longing for God? So, hey, hungry for revival, friends. Hungry for God to show up. I love you a ton. Have a great